Welcome back, folks, to the Average Movie Review Podcast. Today we're going to be reviewing episode 2 of The Last of Us Season 2, just released. Holy crap. This was an emotional roller coaster. For those of you who played the game, honestly, I didn't think they were going to do this quickly. And for those of you who didn't play the game, I'm sure you were shocked and you felt like you were watching an episode of Game of Thrones. Non-spoiler review, fantastic episode, great job, music, action, everything was on par, dialogue, scene, emotion, all of it. One of the best episodes of both seasons, I would say, very well directed. It kind of, if you play the game, you would know that it kind of did rush through quite a few things, but like it was just perfectly timed, like a full hour of amazing acting and amazing visuals and exactly what I think we wanted from this season. And yeah, fantastic episode. Definitely go give it a watch. And now I'm just going to jump into my spoiler filled review. Okay, I have to start off with the beginning. The dream sequence where you see Abby going back in her dream and like following her and then seeing like an older and a younger version of her. That was really cool because in the game you get to do that too, right? She kind of goes through that whole process of going through what happened that night and where she was. Although here it's a little milder, and we don't really get to see her reaction when she sees her father and like what she's doing and when she's looking for Joel. But in the game, like it's much more detailed, but still really good. I like the versions. Caitlin Denver is surprisingly really good as Abby. I did not expect her to be. My only gripe thus far in the entire show so far, even when we're in the present day, is that she just didn't get strong enough. Now, if I remember correctly, at this point in the game, even now, like in present day, she is much more buffed. She is much more, stronger. So, and that was like kind of like her personality. Like this is like a trait, I guess, like her character trait, and I'm very sad not to see that because I feel like it kind of defines who she is as a character. I could be wrong, I don't know, but that's how I feel about it, and I just feel like they should have maybe like given her more to do in terms of like working out and stuff. But I guess maybe we'll see a more toned version of Abby sooner or later. Who knows? I'm not 100% sure. Um, Moving forward, her obsession with Joel, like on point. She is absolutely killing it as from an acting perspective as Abby. She's doing a wonderful job. I can see the pain, I can see the torture, I can see the drive as well. So kudos to her for portraying that character beautifully. I guess moving forward, one thing that they changed about the game and the movie, or sorry, the show in this episode is particularly that Joel is out with Dina instead of Tommy, which I think it hurt me more. And we're getting to the point where why it hurt me, but it hurt me more. And I think it was a great creative decision because it just cements Joel's character as who he is and what he does, why he does it. But more importantly, I think it gives Tommy a choice, or like kind of like not relinquishes, not this is relinquish, no. It kind of like excuses Tommy from not having to see that. And I guess in a way it because he's going through so much, especially in the town, right? Him putting up um the last defense that they have in the town against the holy crap, what are they called again? Infected, right? So that wasn't in the game. I'm like 99% sure that wasn't in the game. So this was a new addition to the story as a different direction. And it worked because it just made the stakes so much more higher. So much more higher. Like we had two different things going on in two different areas. And as a audience member, you're like, do they survive this onslaught or does Joel survive this kidnapping? Like, what is it, right? Like, who wins out of this? Who comes out on top? And in all honesty, like, they did such a good job with that. And I have to give it again, the CGI is great. except for like one or two minor things, like the CGI was a little off, but and that CGI has been amazing. I love that. I believe that they shot most of it on site, like the mountain stuff. So kudos to them because it looks absolutely amazing. Visually, the show is absolutely stunning. I said stow. I know it's crazy, but it is truly amazing to see how much effort and I guess love that they put into the show. So kudos to HBO Max for giving these guys a great budget for this. Um, yeah, and then moving on forward, we see Tommy struggling and like saving his family, giving his life, or not giving his life, but ready to give his life for everyone in the town, and the town fighting off these infected, which is crazy as hell to see. And then you also have to think when you're watching that scene that like these guys may have to kill their own people who they've been living with, but on top of that, like resources, how scarce it is, and how many bullets they have to waste to fight off this onslaught. So like as you're watching it, it's like a cool thing, but then you're also thinking logically, like, what do they do after this? Like, how do they rebuild? In all honesty, like, do they have enough resources to do so? And it's still wintertime. It's not even spring. Like, you can't really go out and get stuff. You kind of have to, adjust for the weather and stuff. So great, I guess like scene there and like great way of telling that part of the story. And then moving forward to like Abby's side of the story where she finds Joel saves her, takes her, then she takes Joel back and then shoots him in the leg, which is absolutely brutal. But then also, like, I guess by putting Dina in this circumstance, it's again Joel having to sacrifice himself for another child, right? Joel probably could have fought them, all five of them. He probably would have died regardless, but he could have put up a good fight. He could have took down at least 3 or 4 of them if he was just by himself. But instead, you know, he put everything down because he saw Dina in danger and he realized like he can't put another child's life in danger again. And then I guess like watching him go through that whole scene again as the gamer, it sucks because Joel is such a beloved character. Although like what he did might have been a little bit extra. Now that it's in hindsight, like maybe he could have shot the doctor in the leg. He didn't really have to shoot him in the head, but it is what it is. He made his choice. At that point, I don't think Joel was thinking, so he did what he needed to do. But again, this is a creative decision that I think destroyed a lot of the gamers' belief in the game and like caused so much controversy, but it was the right decision at the end of the day because that's what carries the story forward, right? If we want good stories to be told and if we want to be emotionally invested in these characters and we want to see them progress in life, loss is a part of life. And I think, again, this decision, as sad and as annoying as it is, was the right decision, right? And in all honesty, I was hoping that maybe they went a different route and they didn't end up killing him or something, maybe just severely injuring him, which would have been a cool take or like a different perspective on the show. But, they still can make changes, right? Like, yeah, I'm not going to spoil the rest of the season, but there's a major thing that happens at the end of the game, right? Where a decision has to be made. And again, will they make the same decision or will they change that decision? Who knows, right? So it really depends on that. Um, Continuing forward, and then Ellie coming up, and I gotta give it to holy crap, what is her name? Bella Ramsey for this scene because when she came in and she saw Joel on like pretty much dead, literally on the floor, dead, barely breathing, and the way she screamed and cried, I'm not like, I can't lie to you guys, like I had a tear in my eye, like I could see, and the way Joel was looking at her, like he just wished that she wasn't there, right? And then when she said get up and he lifted himself, that broke me completely because that is you could see the love and like I guess like it's not, I'm not trying to justify what he did to the Fireflies was right, but then at that point you're just like, yo, he did the right thing. Like, like he tried to protect his daughter at the end of the day. Can you really blame a man for that? I guess maybe he went a little too far, but at the end of the day, he only wanted to protect his daughter, and it was kind of sad to see. And then when she finally does it and kills him, the sound just kind of fades out and you just hear Bella screaming and stuff. And, you know, you as an audience member, you're probably shook, right? Because you're just like, what the hell is the second episode? And they just killed one of the main characters. Like, this is crazy. And if you're a gamer, you're still shocked because it still hurts till this day, literally till this day. And they did such a wonderful job with that. And it was just eerie. So good. And then playing Ashley Johnson's cover of the song. Ashley Johnson, for those who don't know, is the person who plays Ellie in the video game. And then for her song to be played, or her cover of a song to be played at the end of the episode, was the perfect touch, perfect end. You know what I mean? It was just sad. And then cutting back to Tommy, and like when they cut back to Tommy after Joel's death, like I realized in my head, I'm like, he doesn't even know. He's crying for all these people, and he's emotionally destroyed because of all the people that he's lost. He doesn't even know he's lost his brother. And I remember in episode 6 of season 1, when Joel sees Tommy and he goes like, Tommy, like the voice cracks. Like Pedro does such a wonderful job in what he does, and his voice cracks, and like that love for his brother. You know what I mean? And I can't imagine what Tommy must feel when he's going to see him next week, like in the episode. And I can't even think about it, and like what they're gonna do and how they're gonna progress, right? So I don't know. Maybe it was just like, I guess that decision was smart because he had to go. He was going to go through all of that with the people and the townspeople. That adding that extra burden of him watching his brother die probably would have been too much for him. But at least, you know, it was different in that sense, right? So I'm excited. I thought it was a great, phenomenal episode. Solid 10 out of 10. This is the best episode so far of both seasons. I'm really super excited to see what they do next. I know the next few episodes might be a little bit less actiony and like less thing, but I'm still excited. I know next week's episode probably going to be more context and like, you know, just more acting and dialogue and like further progressing the story, which is fine. I think that's okay. And yeah, and then we'll get to see some maybe new characters and like, you know, see all the rest of the world and see what their plan is and like who's actually going to go after Abby and who's not. So yeah. But yeah, that's my review on episode 2. Let me know what you guys think. I'd love to hear from you guys, and I'll catch you on the next review. All right, peace.